Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back! Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere! Boost! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now! Available in 1987, the album, Dad, She took the midnight train going anywhere. Beast! That was kind of like a slow beast, wasn't it? Anyway, look, I just put this new plant up here that my good Judy Tanya Jean got me for my birthday. It's a money tree. Anyway, it kind of looks like there's something hanging out over my head. I might have to rearrange all that back there, but I do have my good Judy centipede with me today. Now, a lot of you have commented about centipede. I did not tell you that centipede actually has psychic powers of the world. He does. What? What? I can't hear you. This is how he speaks. What, centipede? Family friendly. Centipede said, "It is most decidedly so that the career of James Charles is beginning to end." What? You don't say. Hold on. I must check with the drama conch. Drama conch, centipede, psychic of the world related to Miss Cleo, has said that James Charles' career is coming to an end. Is it so? Oh, drama conch. What? He's eating his lunch. Huh? A Big Mac from McDonald's. Oh, and an apple pie. That's what the gods of the drama... Okay, James Charles' career is coming to an end. He said the centipede is correct. The almighty centipede is correct. It is coming to an end. So anyway, there you've heard it from the two psychic sources of the world, the drama conch and centipede. Shut up! He's so loud, he just goes on and on. Took the midnight train going anywhere. Boost! I am all over the place today. So we're going to talk about James Charles today, and kind of in relation to Jeffree Star a little bit. We're going to talk about how I believe that this is the beginning of the downfall of James Charles, so to speak. And I know people are like, oh, well, it already happened. I think we're starting to see evidence of it actually happening. And I do think that James Charles is scrambling a little bit to try to do some things to try to get people more invested in him and more excited about James Charles. And, you know, I think it's interesting if you read the Beauty Guru Reddit, or if you read any threads about beauty influencers, there's quite a few beauty influencers that at one point were at the top of their game and they have kind of fallen, and people are like, whatever happened to this person and whatever happened to that person? And they kind of started posting less and doing less, and people started paying less attention to them. And then over time, they just kind of were not as relevant as they used to be. And many of them still post, videos on a regular basis, but they don't get anywhere near the views of what they got at one point, and they're just not that relevant anymore. You know, I think it's interesting when we talk about this whole idea of cancel culture, and I don't put any responsibility on any one person. Like, I don't blame James Charles for what Jeffree Star has done and vice versa and all this kind of stuff when you're talking about all of the people that are involved, right? When you're talking about the Shanes being involved and the Tatis being involved and the James Charles and the Jeffree Stars. But I do think to some degree it's interesting, like, that if they had gone back before all of this happened, I wonder if they would play their cards differently, because it seems to me that some of them have kind of canceled each other out, so to speak, right? And I definitely think that James Charles and Jeffree Star are two people that have canceled each other out over their need and their greed, okay, of being in the #1 slot. And if you kind of go back in time, it's interesting that when you think about like how this all started, all right? And originally, drama all started, I think it started, actually, somebody sent me like a link. I think it started today, actually 5 years ago, which is crazy because September 1st was my first drama video posted, when Kat Von D came out and she called out Jeffree Star. I think that was like exactly like 5 years ago today. Somebody sent me a link of that. But, you know, this was like the beginning of Kat Von D and Jeffree Star, and they were kind of at the top of their game of the YouTube stuff. And Jeffree Star just kind of was like this phenomenon at the time that just like grew and grew and grew and grew in the makeup world through YouTube, right? And then the Jeffree Star approved videos and all that kind of stuff. He hardly ever posts videos anymore, right? And he doesn't really need to. And now he's doing his releases on his Instagram and stuff. But at this time, he had this need to be at the top of his game and all this kind of stuff. And then we see James Charles, you know, like at his heels, and James Charles is kind of the same way. And for a long time, I made videos about this. It would be like James Charles passed, you know, 10 million. Then Jeffree Star passed 10 million and then 500,000, you know? And then it was like James Charles, like, beat him. And it was like this up and down game for a long time, right? And, you know, watching it or going back in retrospect now and looking at what happened, it makes sense that sooner or later, one of them was going to call the other one out and say something, because the only way they were going to ever win this game is if they, like, one of them did the other one wrong and called them out. But I don't think what they were realizing was when that happened that the other person was going to get all that negative attention as well, right? If you go and you watch shows like Dance Moms, I've watched every episode of Dance Moms there ever was. If you watched it back in the day, Abby Lee Miller, she always pitted Chloe against Maddie, right? And she would say you always need somebody there to compete with. If there's not anybody there to compete with, you don't grow. You don't become a better version of yourself. You don't challenge yourself and things like that. That's what she would say on the show, if you remember that, right? So she'd always pit them against each other, and they both have, you know, a solo, and of course Maddie always had the more beautiful solo. And this is kind of what we saw happen with the James Charles and the Jeffree Star thing, right? Is that they were kind of like trying to outdo each other's best until they became the worst versions of themselves, and everybody on the internet saw that, right? So, you know, and I look back on this, and I mean, Jeffree Star probably is like, I wish I had never ever done that video with Tati Westbrook back in the day. And Shane Dawson, you know, he's now all involved in all this. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of part in this. Laura Lee, Manny MUA, Nikita Dragon, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, Nikita Dragon has come out recently, and she has said some things about Jeffree Star, and that there are just some people that you shouldn't be friends with. And, you know, I had heard through the grapevine, so to speak, a lot of different reasons why Nikita and Jeffree Star are not friends anymore. But there's a lot of players in this, right? There's probably, I would say, 10 players in this drama opera, as I have joked about the last couple years. And then I think that there's people that know that they just need to completely stay out of it. You know, it's interesting because, like, there's several beauty influencers that are bigger that just kind of stay out of this whole mess, and they don't ever involve themselves with those people and whatever. But I saw this thing on the Beauty Guru Reddit. Hold on, let me pull it up really quick for you. And it was talking about James Charles, and it was saying that he was getting less views on his video, and that he was getting more dislikes than he had gotten before. And I was like, you know, this is interesting. He just came back. You would think that him just coming back, people would be more interested in him, yada, yada, yada. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. James Charles has uploaded a new video. How is he acting like he didn't do anything? And so this is where James Charles has come back now, and he's deleted his other video. He did this video called Open Conversation. What's interesting about his video called Open Conversation is, or we need to have an open conversation, is that it is sitting at currently like 5 million views, okay? His last two videos, I went and looked. His video that he posted 3 days ago, TikTok makeup hacks are crazy, got 1.3 million views. And baking my own crumble cookies got 2.1 million views. That was a week ago. An open conversation got 5.1 million views. All of these are, the last videos that he posted before that were, I bet my friends $100,000 I could beat them in Magic or in Mario Kart. Got 3.3 million views. They were all using viral face filters to do my makeup. 3.6 million views. Full face of worst rated makeup products, 6.7 million views. So full face of worst rated makeup products 4 months ago got more views than him coming out and having an open conversation with people. I don't think people really care anymore. I don't think they're invested in James Charles except for the super stands. And I don't think people really believe anything that James Charles has to say. I think they think that he's a liar. I think that they think that he has taken no accountability. I don't think that they've seen any growth in James Charles. And this is where I really believe that these people do themselves in, because if they had really listened to a lot of people that were giving them really great advice and saying, hey, go work on yourself, take some accountability, blah, blah, blah. But the problem with this is that this is where the ego and the pride step in, and the arrogance, that they don't think that they've done anything wrong. They don't feel like they need to answer to anybody. It does not surprise me in the least that Shane Dawson, in his interest in narcissists, has surrounded himself with people that literally do not believe that they fall under the same rules as anybody else, okay? and that they feel like they're at the top of the game and that none of this applies to them and whatever, you know? And all of these people that Jeffree Star has surrounded himself with, they are all people, if you look at them, Jake Paul, Tana Mojo, James Charles, Jeffree Star, all of them are all people that do not feel like they need to take accountability in any way whatsoever. Trisha Paytas, you know? Trisha Paytas made this apology to Ethan Klein and then deleted the video, you know? So it's like all of these people that seemingly, and act like that they're the best people in the world and that they've grown and they've done all this kind of stuff, they talk out of this side of their mouth and they don't do anything on the other side of their mouth. Where if they were actually doing the work that it required, we would see the change, right? We wouldn't have to have videos like an open conversation, because somebody could come back and say, I've changed a lot, right? And I do think, and this is where there's a whole thread on here about Tati Westbrook not being innocent and that she is part in all of this and part and parcel in all of this too, which I agree with, okay? I do agree with that. I do think that Tati Westbrook came back and she addressed a lot of the stuff that people wanted to know. I think she took a lot of accountability at the beginning of the video. I think, you know, she even kind of made a joke of like her previous video and all that kind of stuff. I think she's trying. And I think that's a little bit more than what I've seen from the rest of these people. I've done videos before where I've talked about the downfall of Jeffree Star, okay? Jeffree Star, at some point, if he is not having his social media presence on Instagram and on YouTube and on Twitter, his makeup won't sell the way that it is, okay? I know that he wants to inundate people with his emails. I get his emails non-stop, okay? I get non-stop emails from Jeffree Star Cosmetics about sales that they have and mystery boxes and all this kind of stuff. He can't sell out of this stuff anymore. I'm sure if I did a little social experiment right now and I went on the Jeffree Star Cosmetics website, that his mystery boxes would still be for sale. When back in the day, they would literally sell out that quick. Okay, let's go on here. Mystery boxes. I'm probably going to show my butt here really quick, aren't I? Okay, so Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Okay, here it is. Oh, here are the mystery boxes. So let's hit the mystery boxes and see. Select a size. Okay. Here they are, mystery boxes. The mini is still available. The premium is still available. The deluxe is still available. The supreme small is still available. The supreme medium is still available. This can't be. The supreme large is still available. The supreme extra large. Oh, no. Wait. I was reading the wrong thing. Let's go back. Okay. The mini is still available. The premium is still available. The deluxe is still available. The supreme small is still available. Supreme medium is sold out. The supreme large is sold out. Supreme extra large, probably 2X large, yeah, and probably 3X large is sold out as well. So, I mean, there's still a lot of mystery boxes that you can get over there, right? Back in the day, I mean, Jeffree Star would sell out this quick. And here's the thing I'm wondering now. I'm wondering because we used to always speculate, right? Did Jeffree Star sell out of stuff actually that quick? Or did he only sell a certain, you know, amount on his website? There was a thread that I read a while ago, and it proved that you could go through, I think it was Beauty Bay, and you could see, or it was Morphe or Beauty Bay, and you could see actually how many units were left. And so this whole kind of mystique that he surrounded around this being sold out that quick was actually in reality not true. And so it makes you wonder now, is he just not selling out of these products? Was he never selling out of these products and he just made it look like that he was selling out of these products? Or are people not interested now? Now, I know that the super fans will say, this is a time when people are not buying products and this whatever. And that may be partly true. But the reality is that there are a lot of people that are still putting products out that are selling out that quick, okay? So Jeffree Star is just not one of them. And then people will say, well, he's making so many, you know, quantities of these. Why would he? The last mystery boxes didn't sell out. The ones before that didn't sell out. So he would be a poor businessman to make that many mystery boxes if he didn't think they were going to sell out. So either you're saying that Jeffree Star is a poor businessman and doesn't make good choices business-wise, or you're saying that he can't sell out of his mystery boxes. So it's one or the other, right? I think over time what we've started to see is less views on Jeffree Star's videos, less interest in Jeffree Star drama. Whenever I post a Jeffree Star drama video, people don't care as much. You know, and I know his response to that is, well, I want to stay out of the drama. Jeffree Star literally invented drama sells makeup. He invented that, okay? So he is now like people aren't that interested in the drama. People just really aren't that interested in Jeffree Star anymore. And he did it to himself, right? He did it to himself because what happened was people got bored of this boring villain. He called himself the villain. People always want to villainize me. People always want to villainize him. No, Jeffree, what it is that you really never wanted to take responsibility or accountability for any of your actions. You never wanted to show the growth, you know? It's not just, yes, I said these things in the past, okay, and I'm not proud of them. It's, what's the work you've done since then? Why did you think it was okay to say those things to somebody back in the day, but today you feel differently? What change has occurred to make you feel that way? Not just to refer to that Jeffree Star in the third person and say, I don't know that Jeffree Star, but what work have you actually done? And see, what happened over time was people started seeing through that and realizing he really hasn't changed. And enough people started calling him out, and enough people got bored with it, and enough people realized his makeup is just kind of replication after replication after replication, because that's the truth, okay? When you look at a Jeffree Star palette, and I know people love his makeup, and I know that people say his makeup is high quality. I have friends of mine that even say that, okay? But when you look at those palettes, they're not so vastly different, okay? They just really aren't one after another. They're just not that exciting anymore, you know? He's releasing this mini palette, and it's called the Jeffree Star Ranch or whatever. And I was looking at it and I was like, this is kind of boring, you know? Like, anyway, for me, just from my perspective of watching other things that he's done. And there's been a few palettes of his that I thought were very, you know, nice and whatever. He can't sell out of products anymore. He just can't, okay? People aren't interested in him. And this is the undoing of Jeffree Star. Because if this is where we're at in 2021, literally a year and a half after the Shane Dawson series, which tainted him and he was at the top of his game, imagine where we're going to be 5 years from now. I don't know that he'll be able to sell that many products at all. I don't know that he'll be that relevant on YouTube, you know. He doesn't want to do these Jeffree Star approved videos anymore. You know, if you go to Jeffree Star's videos on YouTube and you look at where he was, and I'm just using Jeffree Star as an example of what's going to happen to James Charles. If you look at Jeffree Star's videos, the last video that he posted was a month ago, okay? Addressing my mental health, selling my house, and getting help. And apparently he has sold his house since then. The one before that was Wet n Wild SpongeBob makeup, is it Jeffree Star approved, okay? That was like his first Jeffree Star video that he had done in 3 months. Then he goes on and talks about his car accident. Then he talks about his best friend. Then he talks about the KVD Good Apple Foundation as a Jeffree Star approved, which he knew he was going to get a lot of views off that because of Kat Von D, even though she's not aligned with that anymore. Okay, so that's kind of like he's clickbaiting his audience. Then he does this one, F-Proof Mascara by Jeffree Star Cosmetics 4 months ago. It was his worst viewed video. Okay, so people don't care about his products anymore, see? So he has posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 videos in the last 6 months. And all of his videos are getting like mostly less than 3 million views. Except for the video that he put out saying goodbye, which really wasn't about that. Yeah, he's getting less than 3 million views a video. His videos aren't doing that great anymore. Well, when you go to, and he's not growing or losing on Social Blade, I looked. He's staying kind of at the same amount. I think he's maybe lost like 100,000 subscribers or something like that in the last 2 months. When you go over to James Charles, the exact same thing is happening with James Charles, okay? And I actually did look at his Social Blade, and he has lost 100,000 subscribers in the last month, which isn't as many as I would think it would be, but it's still enough, right? And so anyway, I went over to his YouTube channel and I looked because people were saying this in the thread. And when you look on here, 1.3 million views, 2.1 million views, 5.1 million views for an open conversation, 3.3, 3.6, 6.7, 4.4. Now, yes, that's a lot of views. He's still making a lot of money. Even for the 3 months that James Charles wasn't posting videos, he was still getting 800 to 900,000 views a day on YouTube. Do you guys have any idea how much that is? I mean, like, that's a lot of views, okay? He was making money just letting his videos sit up there on YouTube, okay? But what's interesting about this is when you go back to 5, 6 months ago, a year ago, James Charles was getting 9.5 million views, 13 million views, 9.3, 3.8, okay, not a great one, 13, 11, 14, 7, 8, 19, 43 million views, 12 million views, 9 million views, 29 million views, 10 million views, 13 million views, 13 million views, 15 million views. So it makes it understandable why James Charles came out on his Instagram story 2 days ago and said, or yesterday, and said, hey, have you guys watched my video? Because he's freaking out because nobody's watching his video. Why? People aren't interested in James Charles anymore. They just really aren't. They're not interested in James Charles as a person. They're not interested in James Charles' allegations. They're not, because he doesn't take any responsibility for it and he hasn't shown any growth. And now people are like, this is serious, okay? And it does need to be discussed. And so people have walked away from James Charles. They aren't going to buy his products anymore. He is tweeting out and putting on Instagram people that are using his palette. That palette is so old at this point. That palette's like 3 years old, okay? James Charles should have put other products out by now. Why hasn't he? Because no company probably wants to release James Charles products right now. We know that. We've seen the stories come out about how warehouses are holding the James Charles products. Why aren't they releasing them? This is the worst time ever to release a James Charles. This is why he still hasn't done his Hey Sisters tour that he talked about how he was going to come back and do it, right? So we're seeing a decline in views. We're seeing a decline in subscribers. We're seeing not that many people interested in watching any kind of drama videos about these people anymore. And we're seeing not that many people talk about it. So the reality is that this is kind of the recipe for disaster when you start seeing the downfall of these people, right? And Jeffree Star, this has already greatly affected Jeffree Star. James Charles, he's next. James Charles is getting less views than Jeffree Star is getting on his videos, okay? And at some point, what's going to happen is James Charles is just going to, it's going to be obsolete. It's like, it's interesting to me, like, when I go over and I look at the Rylan Adams videos, here's another good example for you, okay? Rylan Adams has really shown kind of his true colors, I would say, in the last 6 months, and him defending the wrong people, and that's kind of, and, you know, and people are not, like, super happy with Rylan Adams. If you go over and you look at the SIP, now the videos that he does with Shane Dawson on his Rylan Vlogs videos, and Shane is in them, those videos are doing pretty good, because people that are still lovers of Shane, they want to see Shane, right? And that's their way to see Shane. Go over and look at the SIP, okay? Because I just did the other day. I couldn't believe the few views that he's getting on it. So the last video that Rylan Adams posted was 5 days ago. Encounters with Disney stars, my near-death experiences in Scream 5. 77,000 views. Hot Seat with Rylan, Lizzie, and cameraman Chris. That's 2 weeks ago. 95,000 views. Okay? 100,000 views before, 144, 146. I mean, it's literally tanking, okay, and it's going down. And I think people really aren't that interested in Rylan Adams anymore, except for this core group of following that loves Rylan, and they probably have loved him since he's been with Shane, okay? Because I don't think that he brought that much of a collective audience over from when he was doing Clever News. I don't think people really knew who he was. And what's interesting is when you look back on that, you know, Shane Dawson said, I'm not going to put Rylan in all my videos. I'm not going to do this with my boyfriend. You know, I'm not going to do like a Q&A with my boyfriend, all this kind of stuff. And then he basically made Rylan and Morgan's career. Now, Morgan on her own, and I love Morgan's videos. I mean, I think she can stand on her own. And I think what Shane did was just kind of introduce her to the world, which is fine. You know, I remember years ago, I think it was Trisha Paytas that shouted me out in a video or something like that, and I got quite a few followers off of it. And I said something to Trisha, you know, thanking them, and Trisha said, I can just introduce people to your channel. They're the ones that are going to decide if they're going to stay. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, you know, and I think people have decided to stay with Morgan Adams because Morgan Adams is not problematic. I think Morgan Adams is really fun to watch. I enjoy her videos, and I think she's kind of the voice of a generation to some degree, right? I think we don't really know who Rylan and Shane are, and I think that's part of the problem, you know? Shane put up this thing on Instagram the other day, and he was like, I haven't taken a selfie in a year, and why are my eyes crooked? And it's this constant kind of like shifting of view or shifting of voices of we don't really know who he is. Is he the person being confrontational with Tana Mojo, you know, face to face? Is he the person having a really emotional moment with Jeffree Star? Is he the person trying to sell slimes at 3 o'clock in the morning? Is he the person going off on Tati? We don't know who Shane Dawson is, and we don't know who Rylan Adams is either, and don't try him. I'm just saying we don't know who these people are, and I think that's part of the problem, you know? If you're going to develop a character, stick with it. And when you look at the history of Shane Dawson, he's done a lot of characters in the past. Some of those characters are getting him into trouble today, right? So is Shane Dawson really a real person that people have fallen in love with? Or is Shane Dawson just the epitome of one of the greatest actors that we've ever seen on YouTube that is constantly shifting in and out of, you know, out of these roles? That's what I believe that it is. I don't know that we've ever seen a true moment of who Shane Dawson is. I think, you know, when push comes to shove, that moment that he was going off on Tati in that video, yes, I think that was a moment that he was very, very angry. I don't know that I think that that's the epitome of who he is all the time. I don't believe that to be true. I think when he's sitting in a chair and he's being very sarcastic and talking about drama channels only using the same picture of him, I think he thinks it's all a joke. I think that he thinks he's better than all of it. I think this is why he has chosen to hang around all of these people that are like-minded. We haven't done anything wrong. Stop coming for us. We work very, very hard for you for free. I mean, Shane Dawson's even said that, you know, about the editing. So it's just like all of these people, I think, are the ones that are doing themselves in. And it's like at any point, like it's with like the Gabby Hanna stuff, at any point, if you chose to just stop, pull in the reins, really actually take a look at your part, and just your part, okay, and what's going on, just fix that part, just take responsibility for that part. These people could be rather successful in what they're doing. They could probably make a return, you know. People just want them to own their stuff and be honest about it. It's 2021. People can, you know, they can smell a bad fart in a room a mile away. I mean, they just can. And these people, they're bad farts, okay? Not that there's anything such as a good fart, but you know what I'm talking about? I mean, they're smelly farts because they're not fixing themselves. What a bad analogy. But you know what I mean? Like, people are watching them, they're like, no, this is fake. This is phony. We're not buying this, okay? We know you just want to come back. We know you want to make a lot of money, you know? And then they got a lot of people that are buying into it. They're like, oh, we love you, James. Oh, we love you, Shane. Nothing in the world that you do could ever make me not love you. That's a really scary statement, okay? I just want to say this, that when I see that, when I see people post that on Twitter and stuff or on Instagram and they say, nothing that you do could make me not like you, like, I'm like, seriously? Like, think about that statement. Nothing that they do could make you dislike them. That's kind of a scary statement. Anyway, I think the same thing that's happening to happened to Jeffree Star is happening to James Charles. I think the beauty community, like they all like to say the beauty community is non-existent anymore. I don't believe that to be true. I think the beauty industry and the beauty community on YouTube is thriving, and I think it is growing. And I think what's happening is we're seeing a falling apart of all of these major beauty gurus, right? I think the reality is what's happening is the phenomenon of the beauty guru is what's falling apart, okay? They're dinosaurs on YouTube at this point. And I think what we're seeing, okay, over time, because if you go to the beauty guru Reddit and you read over there, right? 6 months, 2 years ago, it was all the same 5 people. The Jaclyn Hills, you know, Jeffree Stars, not the Shane Dawsons, but, you know, the Jeffree Stars, the James Charles, all the same people, okay? When you go over there now, there's a lot of discussion about a lot of different people. And I think what people are realizing is exactly what somebody said when I did a video about Tati, was that when Tati left for a while, it allowed them time to go find new people. And I think that's what's happening. And I think that what we're seeing now is a rise of a lot of deserving beauty influencers on YouTube. And I'm thankful for that. I really am. Because there's a lot of people out there that bust their butts and are not problematic and are putting out good video content about the beauty industry, right? And shouldn't they get just as much acknowledgement as the other 5 out there that don't really care about you to begin with? I think they should. So anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.